This episode of the Conscious Salon podcast is brought to you by Revlon Professional Australia.
Welcome back to another episode of the Conscious Salon podcast. I'm having a little bite of an Easter egg.
It is, yes.
I just
Welcome,
had to
by
test-
the way.
I don't like wait, is that a hollow Easter egg?
Yes,
Or-
you don't like,
Yeah.
you don't like
I don't like a hollow Easter egg. Like, I'll take what I can get today, but
No, you actually
prefer
said
a
I'd
solid.
prefer, you told me that already.
the small solids.
Yeah,
are where
shockingly,
it's
when
at.
I was stealing from my children, their little loot, I didn't think of size and I just thought I'll just bring in a couple of Easter egg snacks.
You're going to be in trouble when this airs and T finds out.
No, River doesn't know what's happening.
Oh,
so
so
that's
that was
great. He's
his
got
pile.
no idea. He didn't even enjoy the hunt. Do you know I actually organised the hunt? Which, like,
It's not very.
that's
not very
actually
you.
so, like, out of my depth. Mick is like the fun parent. He's the one that will get up and do all the things. Talia found out that the Easter Bunny, well, I mean, she knew. I know that she knew, but she kept
Warning, if people are in cars
oh,
with
yeah,
their
turn
children.
it off. But
If
also,
you're in cars
if
with
you've
your
got-
children, turn
hang
it
on a
off.
minute. If you're putting this in front of your kid, that's on you, Dale, because like I should come with a permanent sensory warning for children.
Okay.
So, like, I'll give you a bit of time to switch down now, but Talia found out last year. She fucking knew though. Like, you know, when you can just tell, I was like, oh, come on. Which I was like, I get it. Like, I used to do that as well with like Santa and stuff. I didn't want the jig to be up.
Yeah.
But we told, well, I didn't have any involvement. Mick told her, I think.
Does she know? She's like,
She certainly does
nearly
now.
13.
No, she definitely does. But so Mick, first year of not doing the Easter egg shenanigans because River's too young. He's one. He doesn't even know what a bunny is really. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna throw him a curveball. That snuck out the day before, the last minute Easter egg collection, which they really
Naughty
do.
bunny.
They do a great job with their sales on that day. It's like me and all the other disorganised parents were all
Exactly. They
looting
prey on
together.
people like you.
100%. And, good on them. They've got their money's worth for sure. But then we went and did that. So I got up early, set the alarm early, and Talia was up, which I was like, back to bed, doll. You go and have a sleep in. And then, I did the hunt was pretty easy.
I was going to say, I don't know.
I've gotta keep it
There was
for-
like 4 eggs lined up on the fireplace. and,
Dal,
like,
there
one
was
on the windowsill.
38. And then
Sad I didn't get an invite, honestly.
They were all lined
it's
up
pretty
next to each
excessive
other.
because Talia doesn't really like chocolate and
Okay,
River
if
doesn't
you-
eat it.
If you'd like to donate, I love chocolate.
Dal, look, that's
I
why
didn't
they're
eat very
here.
many Easter eggs though this Easter.
Yeah, I mean, I am eating them because my kids don't like it, and
They're there.
Mick actually reckons he gained 3 kilos on that weekend purely in
Kilos.
Yeah, which hope that's all right, Dal, that I'm sharing that. But he went and got, so we went such different routes with Easter eggs. Sorry if we wanted to talk about something more conscious, but I'm on a tangent now, so we're continuing.
I thought we were going to learn something about business in this podcast. but-
Well, we'll get to it. I went the what they had at IGA, which also like I spent I reckon it's about $100 and something on the next day they're half price. So note for next year, I'm going to get up early and go and get it and go and do it that way. But yeah, I reckon I spent about $100 just on the the 38 eggs and a couple of like Lindt fancy
Bunnies,
chocolates.
yeah.
Yeah, the teeny tiny ones, not the big boys. Mick went to there's a chocolatier.
Chocolatier? No, it's called chocolatier.
Yeah.
Like Charlie's Chocolate Factory, effectively. He went there. He spent $200.
On what?
No.
The ridiculous.
The big bunny.
I mean, effectively 3 kilos worth of Easter egg.
For who?
Himself.
Me, but I don't like that. I like the basic Cadbury ones. So I was like, he gave them to me. I ate them. Well, I had a bite and I was like, I don't like that. I don't like that. So he's had it's like the Belgian, ridiculous chocolate. And Talia had a huge, I think it's like a bilby or a wallaby or something. the traditional Easter bilby that we all know and love. So, yeah. So what's that, like $300 worth of Easter eggs in my family's home with people that, the only 2 people that like the chocolate, I just like the basic Cadbury. And
Once upon a time, we used to buy. Were you around when we used to buy the Lindt chocolate for the team?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we used to go to Lindt and get really expensive chocolate, and then we were like,
I love that she says we. I did not do
so
that.
much more laid
You
back.
did that.
Yeah.
I didn't do
But
that.
you know what I mean? Like we used to buy really fancy chocolate, and then I'm like, they just want the Cadbury.
Yeah.
They don't give
I
a
mean,
shit about
that's
this.
Mick. Mick still hasn't learned that I'm like, Dal, I'm the most basic bitch. Like,
Cadbury. Nothing
Yeah.
wrong with Cadbury.
keep it. Absolutely. Well, yeah. I mean, I love a whole egg.
But we've covered the chocolate eggs.
Did you guys want to chime in with your Easter budgets or like hunts? You went away. You did a hunt.
Went away to Bright. It was lovely.
that's
Took
beautiful.
Solly camping. The Easter Bunny found us in Bright, which was good.
Mm.
And then so I heard Solly talking to his friend Patrick yesterday, and Patrick said I got 23 Easter eggs, and then Solly said I had 145, and I said, well, actually, Solly, you didn't count your Easter eggs, and that never happened. But I'm really noticing he's like trying to one up everything at the moment.
I
So
wonder where he gets that.
I'm not sure, but I had to stop him and really like manage the expectations
In
there
front
and
of Patrick?
said, absolutely,
He humbled, yeah.
absolutely.
I mean, I'm not against it. I'm for that. I'm a bit of a tough
No,
love
Patrick
parent.
was so excited with his 23 Easter eggs, and then Solly came in with 145, and I said that absolutely didn't happen, never happened, didn't happen at all.
That is like
But-
a really hard part of parenting, though, I think, like the consistency. Because someone told me the other day at school that their kid's first tooth got $50, which I was like,
Wow.
fucking hell.
But Pete gave Solly no, another trigger warning. Sorry, guys. The tooth fairy gave Solly $30-something for his first tooth, and then I was like, "How dare you?" And he's like, "I wanted to have something that jingled." But I was like, "Yeah." Also, Pete, where did you
I was
get
going to say, where'd that $30 come from?
I don't know.
Where'd Nikki's wallet? You got that.
But no, I was just like, well, what the hell?
I do think there should be a rule that there should be like, let's create some consistency amongst.
Yes, I know, I agree. But as much as we'd
Anyway,
love to talk about
yeah,
chocolate
parenting
eggs
and-
and all of that all day, we did come on here to talk about something a little bit more tangible for the salon owners. They're all taking notes about the Easter Bunny and bloody Santa and whatever else we're talking about. But Tay, what are we talking about today?
Oh, I got distracted now by
That's
these
what it says, like, is this not the schedule? We are talking about, hey, what were we talking about?
Talking about AWS.
Oh,
yes.
yeah, that's me that brought that in as well, so that's good. We do, no, this is the thing. What we're seeing at the minute, this is what we're currently seeing within salons and teams at the moment. So much overcomplication, so much decision paralysis, so much, I've got so much to do. I mean, like overwhelm, I'm not able to do X, Y, and Z. And we came up with a really fun phrasing, which I don't think we've spoken about. Nikki was like, have we spoken about this? I don't think we have.
No, on live calls we have.
We talk about it a lot in our,
Masterclasses.
with our private clients and with our group containers. And like if you're working with us, you will hear this phrasing a lot. It is called AWS. So what we have broken this down to is really getting clear on what we actually need to do, what can wait, and where can we simplify. And this phrasing, these keywords, has been such a massive expansion, I would say, for the three of us this year to keep the needle moving, to keep moving forward, to not buy into the like cost of living mindsets or the world is falling apart mindsets and all of these things. I'm not saying those things aren't happening, but it's what's keeping us continuing to move the needle and continue to level up and move forward.
I actually used AWS last night
Yeah.
to prepare for today because I was really behind, and I was like, oh my god, I start to spiral, and it's so tempting when you're under pressure to go down the rabbit hole. We had this conversation yesterday with a client. It's so tempting when you have that compounding effect and you're under pressure and you think, oh my god, I'm spiraling, I'm starting to go down the rabbit hole, and taking that pressure off for a second and looking at, okay, what do I actually need to do in this moment? And I was running really far behind preparing for these podcasts, and I thought one thing I need to do in this moment is prepare for the podcast. What can wait? Cool. The thing that I started doing that isn't actually, I don't have a deadline for until Friday, that can wait. How can I simplify this? I need to move out and go into my office, move out of the family room where there's so much noise and chaos. How can I simplify my environment? And I was like, oh, AWS.
I think this is something that the more that we lean into this, because what usually happens when we're feeling overwhelmed or stretched out or any of those things, when we're focusing on things that we shouldn't be, it's having that feeling of like I've got all these tabs open and I've got to like constantly do a bit of this tab and a bit of that tab, and I'll go here and there and like constantly switch out. When you start getting really clear on what do I actually need to do, what can wait, where can I simplify, it just makes that flow so much easier. It literally becomes like a to-do list of like, cool, this is priority, this can wait. Let's bridge that gap down and work through it.
Mm-hmm.
Tay, what do you see because you have your hats constantly moving, you'll be in Salon working with clients, working with the team, being off the floor with the team, working with team leaders, working in Conscious, doing podcasts, all of the things. How do you find AWS to support you when you're feeling those moments of overwhelm?
Yeah, I think, excuse me, I am definitely someone who loves like a doom spiral. Like I'm one of the people like can like really feed off myself. Like as soon as I like start to go down, it like almost like gives me this like, I don't know, not
Cortisol.
It's not a good, it's not a good feeling, but I love it.
Yeah.
So it definitely just makes me stop in my tracks and really think about, where I am, what I'm doing, and like get really present because I can get quite distracted and get off track a lot. And I think too, like having so many different things moving around, it keeps me really grounded in what I'm doing in that moment. So there was a time where I was getting really caught up in like, oh, my brain's in Conscious now, my brain's in a head now, my brain's in leadership, mine's in, being a stylist. Like I was getting really, really lost. And this is when the first time that you had brought this up to me. Bit of everything. But this is when you first brought it up to me. And it was, literally thinking of like changing over my hats or taking my apron off and really being present in what I'm doing. And it just helps so much with that, not going down that rabbit hole and stopping it. Because otherwise, like I'm one of those people, like I'll start to spiral and then 2 days later I'm like in a hole. I'm like, no one talk to me. Like, like
yeah,
feel like I'm just like in a hole, just skitzing out, I
That's
guess.
it. It will start that overwhelm process and start that stacking effect for you.
Yeah. So just to like kind of ground myself again and like not feed into my own bullshit basically of like, it's so hard. You have so much going on, like blah, 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 and going down that. It's like, no, hang on for a second. Like, what are you doing right now? What do you actually need to do right now? Where can you simplify what's going on? And it just makes it so much easier. I actually used it because I've been getting on and off of my train of like being consistent and like really trying. Nikki actually inspired this with one of her other podcast episodes about her getting on her grind. But that really helped me with that because there's moments where I'm an all or nothing personality and when I'm getting back into things, I'm like, I'm going to the gym, I'm running, I'm, eating only lettuce and like, all of those different things. But
I've never seen you eat only lettuce.
Never, but I mean, probably one day. But it really like anchored me back into, okay, what do I actually want right now? Like, do I want to be doing all of this or is it just more being kinder to myself and simplifying things and, what do I need to do now? And then moving from there, okay, cool, I've nailed this, then I can add more things. And like, so it works in like every single aspect of my life, basically.
No, I totally agree. I think this is something that as human beings, look, and we get addicted to the cortisol. We love the rush. It is addictive. Nikki and I often have to pull each other out of the weeds where we'll be like, hang on a minute, like we're starting to, one thing starts going wrong and then it's like, and then this other thing happened and then this and this and this and this. And then suddenly you've got this thing of like really being in the weeds and like martyring yourself with that. What we really need to start doing with this mindset is catching ourselves and just having that honest conversation. All right, wait, stop. I'm going to pause for a second. What do I actually need to do in this moment? What can wait? Where can I simplify? And when you start working it like that, it will literally change your wiring, your programming so that you don't get affected by all of the outside noise and chaos that can be so like distracting or buying into that cortisol of being like, oh, it is all getting too much and now I'm like frozen and I can't make a decision and I'm like stuck here because there's too much and I feel too overwhelmed. It's a massive, massive thing that we see play out so often in our industry. Nick, this is something that you said that you used last night.
I use it often. You came up with AWS and I use it often. I don't think I've ever told you that, how often I use it, but I use it often, like especially in
That's cool.
Like I am definitely someone who I'm a planner, but I tend to leave important deadlines to the last minute. I don't know why. That might surprise some people to hear. I definitely plan things meticulously, but then I thrive when I'm like under pressure a bit.
Yeah.
But I use AWS regularly. What are you going to ask me?
I do. That's throwing me now with that. I'm grateful to hear that. But I think I'm also really grateful that you shared that you're got the last minute pressures. We do always say that we do our best work under pressure.
I do. I work really, really well under pressure, but I only prepared for today's podcast late last night.
What I want to ask you with AWS is when we start seeing this is something that I feel especially, due to some of the conversations that we've had in our private world at the moment in terms of like with our clients. There is a lot of like listening to outside noises or influences or having more of the whether it's decision paralysis, but just like I think to like whether it's like staying stagnant or like just not moving forward with it. What would you say to a salon owner who is sitting here and really identifying with the fact that this potentially is me? It's nice to have that sort of phrasing, but like actually implementing it. How would you actually start moving it forward or stop that decision paralysis where people can have all of the what's the thing? All the gear and no idea, where they just kind of like sit.
How they actually take action on it.
Just sitting in ideation, not actually
taking
moving
action.
anything with it. Yeah,
sure. I'm so qualified to talk about this because I'm a person who is I love the dramatization of things and I fucking hate this about myself, but I love to make things feel harder than what they are. So I'm definitely a person that tends to like, obviously this is not a good quality of mine, but it's something I'm really self-aware of like being a martyr or making things a way bigger deal than what they need to be. And I've had to really consciously be aware of this, and I have to be aware of this every single day. So one of the things that I've made myself no longer available for is I'm not available to spiral. And this is something that I used to do all the time, like all the time. I'd be like, oh my God, like with what's going on right now, with the war and things like that, a previous version of me would be so fixated on how that would, this is a horrible thing to say, but how that would affect me, my business, my situation, and not have any consideration for the bigger picture. And I would have used that as, oh my God, this is, taking me back to COVID times and how traumatic that was and how hard it is for this and how much small business X, Y, Z. And I would just go down the rabbit hole. And a part of me really loved being in that spiral because I was addicted to the cortisol. And I have to consciously tell myself, oh, I'm actually not available to spiral.
Can I ask you a question on that? Do you think it's that you're addicted to the spiral, or are you addicted to putting yourself in the spiral and then how you rise out of it? Because I actually, like, when you were saying that, I was like, I don't know that you
be
love.
So honest right now.
Yeah, 100%. No lie.
The part of me is addicted to the feeling of people sympathizing that I'm in a spiral. People being like, oh my God, what if you are just doing so well? Like, what have you been up against? That's what my personality looks for. That's the sick part
like
of
recognition with that?
Recognition or being like, wow, you're doing it. Me being like, oh no, it's like, it's just part of the job. Like, secretly I'm like,
yeah.
But that's me being super honest. And I know that about myself and it's not who I want to be, but it is a part of what makes me up and I'm really aware of it. I'm really committed to changing it as well. But I think the biggest thing is like I've really had to say to myself in the past 12 months, oh, we're actually not spiraling today. It's so tempting with that compounding effect of pressure. When you start to feel that pressure rising, it's so tempting to be like, oh my God, the spiral's just there and I can fucking go down that rabbit hole. It's so close. It's so easy to just pop myself into that little rabbit hole. But once I'm in there, I'm like, I've spiraled down. Whereas now I come into something and I go, it's so tempting, but I'm not available for that. I actually have to physically like imagine myself not being available to hop in the hole. I'm just not going in the hole. I'm walking around it and we're going to keep fucking walking ahead. And I'm not available to go down that rabbit hole. That has really helped me as someone who's previously loved to go down the rabbit hole and like dance around there for a long time.
Super honest. I love that. Thank you.
Everyone's like, wow, Nikki's so fucked up.
Not at all. Oh my God.
What about
not
you?
at all. Thank you for being a human and like actually saying what so many people would recognize within themselves. Well done. We've got AWS, so I feel like that is something that can be really, really helpful. So truly get a pen and write this down. Anytime you're feeling overwhelmed, overstimulated, you feel yourself starting to freeze, you're feeling yourself to go down the doom spiral, all of those things, write down, what do I actually need to do? What do I actually want? What is actually the thing that we need to prioritize here? The second thing underneath that, what can wait? So highlight actual, wait, and where can I simplify? And if you start doing these things, even if it means writing it out to begin with, even if it's feeling really, mundane and really, like it's not like a vision board. It's not super inspiring. It's going to start teaching your brain to look at what we need to prioritize, what we can put to the side for now until it's appropriate, and where we can make it easier for ourselves. You start training your brain like that, you will naturally start being able to do that without the pen and paper, without the talking through it, just literally looking at something, being like, cool, as you did last night. This is what I need to do. This is what I'm going to push to the side, and I'm going to get into a space where I can simplify this for myself, where I'm away from my family, X, Y, and Z. I think this is something that we need to see so much more of from salon owners, team leaders, within themselves, because I feel what is happening at the minute is that we are addicted to the cortisol, or we want to get into the spiral, or we want to not make a decision because we might make the right one, we might make the wrong one, and either way it's just going to get too much. If you start strengthening this muscle within yourself, you are going to start building your trust, your confidence, and you're going to be able to start executing things so much quicker. So work on this now, because on the other side of this, you will be able to just make decisions and be solid on them and not sit there and second guess and go down that vortex anymore. It is something that you need to strengthen. It doesn't mean that it's going to be solid every day. It is something that you will continually work on. So I feel for anyone that is resonating with this and catching themselves doing this, if you start working on this now, things can look very different very quickly from really 3 pretty basic and simple questions. I'd love to see this being leveled up.
Love. Thank you guys so much for listening to another episode of the Conscious Salon podcast.
Stay conscious.